I don't. Having a child is like having a husband. I've never had a husband, but honestly,
is there a husband that you had that I don't know about?
Follow you. I need you right now.
Hi guys, so I'm with Thabile here. Thabile Maripe, she's my koni. It didn't work out between me and her brother, but you know, I still love her.
always koni. Always my koni.
So I'm sure a lot of you guys know her. Swati, you guys know her as that lady who makes that food that when you see it, you just want to like jump straight into the phone and like eat everything. I'll put her handle actually for my kitchen top. I'll put it on the comments below so that you guys can actually go visit her page. She has some great recipes on there. And one of the reasons why I asked her here is because I wanted her to teach. There's this really bomb pasta she made for me when I had just come back from the US, and I don't think I've ever gotten over it. So today she's going to teach me how to make it, and we're just going to have a bit of a chat, I think, around some stuff, you know, motherhood stuff and things like that. So my back will be turned that way for the most part, so bear with me because I'll be talking and doing her makeup. So, okay.
Hi. Hi, Connie. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
I'm gonna have my face zhuzhed up.
Yeah, just I'm just gonna moisturize her face a little bit before we start. So, Koni, you are one of those what I call phenomenal women, doing it all. She's got a gorgeous daughter, Rachel, who's living in SA at the moment. So I just want to know, how have you dealt with her? I mean, you've had her with you since the day she was born, and now she's kind of starting to live her own life, and that always sucks. I mean, I can't imagine my kids having a life outside of me at this point. So how have you coped with the separation?
Look, it does suck. But everything up until now was preparing me for now, honestly. The first year was a nightmare. We were just both a mess, you know, because I had never, ever been apart from her for that long. So it was really a learning experience, and it was very, very hard. But I guess, you know, it taught us both the inevitable had come. And so now we needed to adapt to new life apart from each other. It's been a learning curve, Koni, but it's never easy. You know that the days when you really feel like, okay, the phone calls are there, yes, but they're just they're not the same. And then this year, oh gosh, this year was just covered. Oh my word. You know, it's one thing when she's far and then you have the option to see her, to drive and be with her or make arrangements that she come this side, but just not being able to see her, and there's nothing you can do about it. There have been moments where I just really break down and feel like, okay, am I being a baby?
I mean, I can imagine. I mean, when I left Ethan, and I was only gone for a year, but that was definitely the longest year of my life. And I vowed never to do it again because it was just emotionally, it was more than I could bear at the time. I mean, even now, like the thought of being separated from my kids, I'm conditioned. I just can't.
It's hard. It's very, very hard. And you know, some days are better than others because you just sort of get by. And I think, which is quite interesting because I think I then went a lot into other things like my cooking and stuff like that, because now I had that time to do that. But you know, it was time at the backdrop of, you know, her absence. So there's always those moments where you're like, I mean, I do see her on school holidays. I would see her and all of that, but you know, the other days you're like, okay, You're almost like on autopilot.
Yeah, because the days are not the same. You know, there's days where you're okay, and especially when you've got things to do, it doesn't seem like such an ever-present thing. But on the days where you actually have time for the memories and to think, I think those are definitely the worst days, when you have time to think.
Oh, they are. And then the days when you're like, okay, maybe it's not such a bad idea, because now having a child is like having a husband. I've never had a husband, but honestly,
is there a husband that you had that I don't know about? Because I swear, like,
okay, I've never had a husband, but honestly, I imagine what it must be like. I mean, my child was the kind that if you come home late, you have to let her know you're gonna get work late, or you're just gonna be held up. Otherwise, she is gonna call. She is gonna call you, and she is not gonna sleep until
you're home.
And so those those perks that, okay, suddenly I don't have to account for my every move.
Yeah.
To this human that just.
But don't you miss it too?
Well, well, the days when you're like, okay, now I really have no need to rush home. You know, there's no one to rush home to cook for or anything like that. But it's also just it's those moments where you really feel like, okay, I really am alone.
This woman enjoys cooking. You can see the way that she does it, that she
I do.
Loves it.
I do enjoy cooking.
With everything in her. Like, she cooks. What do you think your secret ingredient is? Or why your food tastes
love?
So
oh gosh. Okay, you know what? I always say that, cooking is a labor of love. It is a serious labor of love, such that you cannot, and I think other people that enjoy cooking will agree, you need to really be in the right space. Also, you don't want to just cook for the sake of cooking. It's a ministry of sorts. Yes, and so I pour I pour myself into it.
Oh my gosh, Koni, can I just put this over your shoulders actually before we carry on? Let's take it.
So for me, that's cooking is just a big deal. And when I'm not in the right space, then I just.
So have you ever turned down work because you felt like you weren't going to do justice to the menu or whatever they were asking of you? Like, you're talking about not being in a right space. Like, I know what you mean, because for me as well, creatively, if I'm not in a good space, everything just stops. And my makeup will never come out the way I want it to come out because of where I am emotionally.
Sometimes when someone will come like today and say, tomorrow can you I'd love you to prepare me something, and sometimes I will turn it down because I'm not ready, because I need to sort of prepare myself. But also I will sometimes turn it down because I the space that I'm in, I know that I will not really apply myself, So there are those instances where I'm just like, okay, you know what, I'll just have to give that a miss,
Okay, so I'm just curious. Portia is like one of the most confident young people I've ever met. Even from when she was like smaller, she's always come across as a very confident child. And for me, children that are that confident are children that have been raised with a lot of love. And with me being a single parent, you come under fire for a lot of things. Like, women tend to get the short end of the stick when it comes to their singleness. How have you found raising a girl child, first of all? You've done a great job, by the way. She's an amazing kid. But like, how have you found raising a child in the society that we live in today? And also raising her by yourself, like, and still finding time to have a career, multiple careers, because you have your everyday 9 to 5, but now you've got this cooking thing on the side. How do you do it?
Oh gosh, it's not. We say this, and sometimes it's used against us in certain circumstances. That when you're a woman, you just make a plan. You just have to do it. It just has to, you find a way. But I think for me, with my child, it's just it's always been deliberate. I didn't have the privilege of growing up with with my mother, you know. So I just knew that for my child, whatever comes, I will rise and I will fall with her, and you know, we will be fine. So look, it is not easy, Khosi. It is so not easy. I say this to other young people, and I say, you know, if you can, I don't know what marriage has in store for people, or for me, or you know, but I think the way it was always supposed to be is that two people should be under one roof when they raise a child.
Ideally.
And yes, ideally. And the reason where I then see it explicitly in as far as child raising is concerned is that I can never be my child's father. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how great a mom I can be.
It's not the role you signed up for.
Yes, I can only ever be her mom. I can try and, you know, go above and beyond so that she doesn't feel it, but I can never, ever be the dad. And so I'm privileged to have a father to my child who dotes over his child. And so she has been able to get the best of both worlds. But it's still not the same as day to day under one roof. There's still those moments where you're with her all the time and she is your 101% responsibility, regardless of the presence of the present co-parent. So we have it tough. Gosh, I think we have it really, really hard. Really hard because we are not even designed to walk away from situations.
Nope.
we can't just decide, okay, I'm tired now, let me take this child and just go drop her off somewhere. We just make a plan.
We never get a break.
We never get a break. And I tell my child all the time, you are blessed. You are so blessed. You are so privileged because you are really a healthy and happy child who has had the best under the circumstances of both parents. Hey, it's hard.
It really is. And I mean, I'm
asking. We try.
I'm asking because, you know, it's the one thing that I always say, nobody chooses to parent children by themselves. You know, I'm very clear about the fact that I only ever signed up to be a mom. I don't know how to be a man. I don't want to know how to be a man. Right. I'm not trying to be a father. I am their mother. That's the role that I play.
Yeah.
But, you know, my parenting circumstances have not always been ideal. But I think what I struggle with the most is the way that society tends to portray single moms. First of all, that it's likely our fault that things didn't work out. You know, you're always the villain in the piece because you're now a bitter woman who's been left behind. So you can never be rational about anything, which is so unfair because really, I mean, who chooses to end a relationship if things are good?
True.
Nobody.
No,
you know, if things are fine, nobody's going to leave. But I hate the way that single moms get singled out whenever it comes to taking the blame for why kids turn out bad or things like that, you know?
That is so true. I mean, my child will sometimes struggle with cooking, and then it's always like, no, how can you not be able to cook when your mom blah 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 cook. Your mom blah blah blah, and it's like, no, I mean, this is like the issue of the pastor and the pastor's kid. I mean, it's not it's not a automatic. Yes, it's not automatic.
That's very
and
true.
Also, the other party cannot say your mom should. No, everyone should be doing their bit.
Thank you.
And this,
moms and dads
alike.
So there's the perfection aspect of it, which is so unrealistic, first of all, because like everybody makes mistakes. Nobody knows what parenting is like until you're actually a parent. Because first of all, you don't even know what kind of child you're going to get. Some children make parenting harder than others. Some kids make parenting very easy. So it's just one of those things where even with support, raising children is hard, guys. Let's just be clear on that.
You know, it even goes to, it's even little things like when you come back from a job somewhere or you come home, you can't get into the house and not parent.
No.
When you get into the door, your day starts for them in their eyes. And so that on its own is just always that rude awakening. You would say, yeah, no, I really am on my own. It's just you. And these children have their 101% focus on you. But that's what they know.
Where do you think we've gone wrong in terms of how we apply the roles that we're supposed to play? Why does it always fall to the woman to take the brunt of things that go wrong, first of all? And why does the caring always automatically fall to us?
Moms.
Yeah, like why is it not automatic that people are like, oh yeah, the dad should be the one to take care of the child? Like if the dad walks away, it's like, men are just like that. Don't you know men? Like they get such a pass. It's so unfair, you know?
We have got the short end. Always.
This isn't even the short end. I don't know what this is.
Always, because it then sounds very much like it's a fight of some sort, and we're trying to defy socialization and the like. But this is our reality and this is our truth. You would see we are not superhumans, and everyone should be doing their part, honestly. And so if I do my part, it's like saying go over and above and beyond, so that I then, in the eyes of everyone else, qualify as the perfect mom.
Imagine that. Imagine having to qualify for something like that.
Exactly. Like, I'm never able to just do what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to do that and some. It will sound cliche, but I do blame patriarchy to a certain extent. But I blame
patriarchy for everything.
Yeah, and you know, just our socialization by now, honestly, should have changed.
But how do we change the narrative? Okay, I mean, I'm raising a boy and a girl, so. But one thing I can tell you is the way that I've raised Ethan, because he's the older of the two, is different to the way that I'm raising my daughter, because their worlds are different in the sense that the things that Anasha will go through, Ethan will never be able to relate because it's not something he ever has to worry about. So the rules of engagement are different because my daughter has to dress a certain way to not attract rape, for example. Ethan doesn't have to worry about that. I can send Ethan up to Gal in the middle of the night and not worry about him as much as I would sending Anasha to go throw something at the gate, which is just here at the same time of the night. Like my worries for her are different. And I don't know, how do you cope with that, like as Portia is growing also, the worry around that.
It's interesting that you raised this, because I was engaging with someone who was saying, anyway, they were sharing this little piece of information about how women can avoid, it's like there's a charcoal something that they need to drink to avoid.
What?
It's some drink or some. It's supposed to. Should you be drugged?
Oh yes, to counteract. Yes,
to counteract
charcoal tablets. Yes.
And then I'm like, the other thing that was a trigger for me was that a male was sharing that information, and that said to me, so with all the energy that you have, we could not have had a conversation where you are calling out. If you can invest as much energy, now we must
calling out your friends for their rapey behavior.
Yes. Why are women being equipped now to, just deal with the fact that you are gonna get raped, you are gonna get drugged, you are gonna get. So all you can do now is prepare yourself.
Yeah, just carry these tablets, and if anything
happens.
Like why are we fixing the symptoms and not the cause?
Exactly, we are really medicating the symptoms. And so look, the world is horrible, the world is just turned out the way it is, and so we all must just be protected. But it always just sounds so wrong when it's coming from men.
It just leaves such a bad taste in my mouth. Actually, I feel like a conversation like that I would actually ask to be excused, because like you're saying, why is your energy not towards calling out your friends? Like, why do we have to make medications to counteract your weird behavior.
Yeah.
Like, why are
And then
you
why are you
sexualizing children? And why would you want to be with somebody who's incapacitated? That's another thing I don't understand. Our society is very broken.
It is. Yeah. Even with the sexual offenses and domestic violence,
Yes.
it's still not. We're grateful for it, certainly, but the fact that men will shout on rooftops about how can you say that stalking is Usoma is stalking, and
If it's unwanted, then it is stalking and it's harassment.
you know what? If she doesn't want it, whether you are interpreting her no to mean keep trying.
No,
Just-
that means yes.
No.
Men are held to such a low standard that even they're aware of it. So they don't even try to act right because they don't have to, because people already know how disappointing they can be as a gender. So nobody holds them to any type of standard because it's just like, save yourself the trouble. Isn't that what they always say?
And we've said that so many times.
For years.
I mean, you ask, what can we do to change this narrative? Honestly.
Is there anything we can do? Realistically.
There needs to be a serious paradigm shift, and that shift doesn't need to be just for men or just for women. It needs to be for everyone. I mean, I do note that there has been some victories with some men in certain quarters where they're really trying to, they're really saying men to men, no men.
This is not right.
This is not, there are those, so, they're not all bad
But
apples.
we need more of them.
But we need more of them, and let's stop analyzing stuff that just wrong is just wrong.
Period. Like, there's no negotiation about
it.
There is nothing, no amount of alcohol can excuse you, nothing. It's just, it's wrong. And the habit of calling out, it needs to become a thing, because people are afraid to lose friends because, or people think that if it happens when there's only one other person, then it's okay. Then it's not so bad. It's only bad if it plays out publicly.
My child will give me a call and she'll say, Mommy, I've just read or just watched on TV this woman. I need to give her time. When she makes such calls, I need to listen because she is disturbed at that moment. She's saying, how can people be so mean? And it's always this wake up call. You would say, Lomvana Ngosiam is living in this world that she is still not 100% exposed to. She's still gonna go out there and have personal experiences that are gonna shock her.
And you can't even protect her from
You
that.
can't.
She has to go through it. It's the only way.
Hey!
There's absolutely nothing you can do. And I imagine as a parent, it's the most painful thing to know that there's nothing you can do to stop your child from experiencing certain things,
But whoever gave men that much power, I don't think this was the plan. This one was misused. This is misused, abuse of power.
Definitely.
It is abuse of power because yes, you're supposed to be the head. You're supposed to lead. You're supposed to be, men have to be our protectors. They're supposed to be all those things that suddenly they are. It's just like they can't relate.
Do you think that's what's led to the toxicity is over expectation of the role that they're supposed to play? So now they're just rebelling and I don't know.
Is that an over expectation?
Well, to them apparently.
No.
Maybe we give them more credit for what they're capable of. Maybe they really are just, the way that they are, and we're just the ones that are expecting them to do better and they're just incapable.
No, I refuse.
And you know what? I just refuse. It starts. So the narrative can only change with our children and the way that we raise them. I feel.
So your answer, we need to die.
No,
our generation must die.
No. Wow, koni.
Now, but the point is, it's almost like, we can do right by our children now because trying to fix us is becoming so consuming and defeating and unsuccessful to a point that, you know what, let's try and work with the children. Maybe they'll turn out better.
I really don't know what we're going to do, but we can only try, right? I think if we can get the message right with the children, like I'm saying, that, you know, I don't raise Ethan like a boy necessarily, save for that the kind of safety features that I give him are different to the ones that I will give to his sister Vele, because unfortunately I cannot be remiss in assuming that the rest of the world thinks like me. So I still have to, you know,
now you're raising your children with security features.
Survival.
It's so wrong.
What? But what else can you do? Because you can't be remiss at the fact that the world is broken, and unfortunately, the world that they're coming into, really, it's not a good one. So if they're ill prepared, can you imagine what will happen to them? So now we have to tell them about the charcoal tablets, Vele, because if you're gonna go clubbing, sissy, at least be protected. Here's your pepper spray. Here's your taser. Here's your charcoal tablets. And here's my number on speed dial. Call me if there's a problem. You know?
How did we get here? You know,
I wish I knew. I always love talking to other moms because, you know, I feel like my friends have played a very big role in helping me to raise my kids. And I struggle a lot, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, between really being full-time self-employed and just trying to keep these kids normal, I thank God for the people that I have in my life, because my children have multiple parents, you know, good people that look out for them and that look out for me. But it's not easy. Society expects you to do it all. They expect you to go out, bring home the money, raise the kids, and if they're not decent, then you have to go back and look at yourself, you know. It's just it's a conflicting role to play, Yvonne. On the one hand, you really want to teach them to be strong, but at the same time, that strength can also be a disability in this world, because if you're strong, they want to break you down, they want to fix you up until you are all that. I'm not sure why society is always so keen to break down a strong woman, just to remind her that she's not all that strong. But I mean, now, since we're finishing, we've talked about all these negative things. I want to know, what's your favorite thing about being Osho's mom? Like, what do you enjoy about parenting? You know, just as we close off, what do you enjoy about being her mom?
It's surreal how she's a baby now, like my baby, like mini me, and then she's now her own person. To watch and witness that is just so
Gratifying.
It's amazing. It is.
And that's when you see God. In little moments like that, I promise
you do. And oh gosh, I have been blessed. I tell my child all the time, because sissy, you are blessed. Don't ever take it for granted. I don't know what it's like to not go to bed without eating with my child. You know what I think was missing for us, or certainly for me, is a conversation where we would have actual conversations with my mother.
Yeah.
That I see with my child, where there is. I'm not talking where you're just going to speak to your mom because you're asking for something, or you feel like I mean, like serious conversations about what you think about this, or just, Mom, I would like to be a musician. Could you ever say that to your mom?
Oh no.
I mean, you needed
No.
to either be a doctor or a teacher
God,
or something.
And you get me now, I could go on with this because to my
Oh, yeah,
parents,
yeah.
I was such a disappointment. It was like, after the schools we set you up to be a lawyer or an engineer. And
And
with
then
my
now
grades, I could have been anything I wanted
Right,
to.
right.
But I chose
Mate.
so they feel very hard done by, you know.
Yes, but now, trust me, if Ethan comes to you and says, Mommy, I wanna join the circus. And train-
I think I'd
Don't-
die a little bit inside, but I'd be more willing to have the conversation
Exactly.
because I know what it's like.
Exactly. You allow them to. I mean, we couldn't say, with whose money?
No. No. I mean, even for example, my mom, like her and all her siblings, they're all trained as teachers because my grandfather was clear with see, it's the most respectable thing you can do and you will always have a job. So, you know, these things have changed. But with me, I had to teach my parents. I had to be strong in my resolve and be like, okay, you want to toss me out, that's
which is
fine.
interesting because you had to do it sort of the other way
It was the
around.
other way around for me. I had to teach them. And I mean, they still have their days. But for the most part, because I don't bother them, they're fine.
So look at me, guys.
I just need to give you a spray just to finish it off so we can set it close.
Oh gosh, look at me.
She looks pretty now. I'm like, look at me. At least my
Double
skin
Jane.
is popping now, so it's fine.
But
Plain
you-
Jane.
but you- yeah.
Betty, that moves, that Betty comes
But
to
she's
town.
always pretty. She's always
Really?
beautiful. She's
Wow.
such
Connie.
So, and I'm so happy for you. I'm happy for your channel.
Thank you, Connie. Finally! At last. It finally was a person.
Yes, man. But you know, your talent, Koni, I mean, is global now.
Oh wow.
It's
I don't know
global.
about that, but
No, but it is global.
but it's definitely national.
No, it's beyond the borders and it's beyond the sea. You were in the US at some point. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm saying global. You are global, Connie.
Thank you, Connie. From your mouth
and
to his ears.
yes, and your talent is just it's on another level. I mean, look at me, guys. Like
Wow,
transformation.
Because my Connie doesn't like dramatic makeup. I really had to hold myself back from putting.
No.
But next time I'm gonna do the makeup on my terms. So she's just gonna deal with whatever drag queen face she ends up with. So yeah, so we're gonna go and cook now. But this part of our vlog is done for the day. So I've done her makeup. It's been a while, and so now we're gonna go downstairs and we're gonna cook.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you, my phone.
Thank you.